Chapter 4. Shrishti, Iswara Siva and Moksham. Dis Swamiji, in the previous chapter Vayu, the energy of life was stated to be the Iswara or God. I pray that this may be explained further. The meaning of the word Iswara is the supreme ruler, Is means rule, Wara means the supreme one. Iswara therefore means the supreme ruler. Who is it that rules us? Dis, the Vayu that is the Jiva Sakti, energy of life. If there is no Vayu, air, will it be possible for us to move, eat or drink or do any other thing? Dis, no. You have heard it said that God is the creator, preserver and annihilator. That is right. These are done by the Vayu, the energy behind all life. Take for instance a red-hot piece of charcoal. Place over it some fuel. Will it burn of its own accord? Dis, no. What should you do to kindle a flame out of it? Dis, I must blow. How do you blow? Dis, with Vayu, the life energy. What was the result that you got? Dis, I got the bright flames. Do you see the bright flames? Dis, yes. To make themselves visible, what should there be? Dis, there should be form. Has Vayu any form? Dis, no. What was it that had the form? Dis, fire. What is the form in which fire manifests itself? Dis, prakasa, brightness. What was the cause of this form? Dis, Vayu. So who is it that creates? Dis, Vayu, the divine energy. Suppose, with the aid of this flame, you light another lamp well fed with oil, and lock the same up in a box. Will the same burn? Dis, no. Why not? Dis, because there is no air. So to make the light continue to burn, what should there be? Dis, there must be the Vayu. So, who is the preserver? Dis, Vayu. In order to annihilate this fire, what should you have? Dis, I must have Vayu. With the help of the Vayu, how is it that you annihilate this form? Dis, by blowing it out. So who is the annihilator? Dis, it is Vayu. So who is doing creation, preservation and annihilation? Dis, Vayu, the Jiva. This Vayu is the Sakti, energy. It is from this Sakti that the Shrishti, creation, Sthiti, preservation and Samhara, annihilation, come out. This force is called the Shiva Sakti. There is no force higher than this. That is why it is said that even a Sivam would become a Savam, dead body, if this force is taken away from him. The only cause of this universe and all the good and bad in it is this Sarira. Dis, Swamiji, up till now you have been saying that the supreme cause of this universe is Vayu, but now you introduce a different word, the Sarira. Why so? What is it that you have understood by this word? Dis, it is this body of ours. What you have now touched and pointed out is not the Sarira. It is called the chest. Can you point out the real Sarira? Dis, then the whole of the body is Sarira. Suppose if one limb is lost, can you not call it Sarira? Dis, I cannot call it. One has no legs. Another has no hands, another has no nose, another has none of the above mentioned limbs. Can you say he has no Sarira? Dis, no. I cannot say that. Not only that, all these limbs have a separate name. So they are not the Sarira. Moreover, it is said that the skin, bones and nerves are only of Sarira Sambandha, connected with Sarira. Suppose we remove these things away that are connected with Sarira, can we get at the Sarira? Dis, no. Why not? You sit near 2 or 3 others touching them. You are said to be connected with them. Is that not so? Dis, yes. They all separate themselves from you, leaving you alone. can you say they are connected with you still? Dis, no. T, so also if you sever the skin, nerves, and the bones that are connected with the sarira, you must be seeing the sarira separately. Dis, yes. I must be seeing it. T, but do you see it? Dis, no. T, so you cannot call this body the sarira. The word sarira originally meant something that is subjected to nasam, decay, that is subjected to the process of dravakam, spiriting away, and that is subjected to kshaya, wasting away, and that is subjected to kshinam, getting weaker and weaker. If what you had pointed out was sarira, is there any decay for it? Dis, yes. T, when? Dis, when persons die. T, if persons die, do their bodies get decayed? Dis, yes. Their bodies get decayed. T, never. If you call this physical body the real sarira, even after death there is this body. It does not perish. It does not perish fully even if you bury or burn it. Dis, yes, it does perish. T, how? Dis, if we allow it to remain for a number of days, it perishes. T, then how does it actually perish? Dis, by being eaten up by worms. T, even then it does not fully perish. If we preserve this body of ours from any injury from others, it will not perish. For example, dead bodies, mummies, of thousands of years old are unearthed in Egypt, and these bodies are said to be in good condition even today. There is nothing improbable in this. We have seen fishes like shark being preserved for a good number of years. Let me give an illustration which all people have seen. The sharks, whales and other varieties of fish have been preserved for the last several thousands of years after being treated properly. We can see them today. In the same manner, can we not preserve this body of ours? Could it then perish? Dis, no. T, just as the dead bodies of fishes and other animals are eaten away by insects and worms called men, the skin and flesh of the dead bodies of human beings also are eaten away by the so-called animals like worms, insects and microbes. Otherwise, this gross body of ours will not perish. It is like this. When one dies, it becomes a corpse. After burying it, supposing after 100 years we exhume, what will there be? Dis, skeleton, skull and bones. T, supposing the soul thing was destroyed, can we see anything? Dis, no. T, then, let me illustrate. Supposing we bury under earth a dried log of wood and open the pit after some 100 years, what will be there? Dis, you can see the core only of that wood. T, the bark of the wood have been eaten away by moths, leaving the core. Similarly, when a dead body is buried, worms, insects and microbes eat away the skin and flesh, leaving the skeleton. Shrishti cannot be with skin and flesh. The foundation for them being the skeleton, it does not get destroyed. Besides, even when burnt, it does not get destroyed completely. Because, the bones are picked out by means of forceps. Either they are thrown away in Ganga or Setu. They are sometimes preserved in tombs. When we think of all these things, we find that body neither gets destroyed nor is it possible to destroy completely. It is only said that this body perishes. But in reality, nobody thinks what is that actually perishes from this. Therefore, what is that perishes from this body, when the body dies? Dis, the Jiva Sakti, the energy of life. T, what is the body called when this Jiva Sakti goes away from it? Dis, savam, corpse. T, till then how was it called? Dis, sarira. T, then when do we call it sarira and when do we call it savam? Dis, so long as there is vayu it is called sarira, and when it escapes it is called savam. T, so this vayu is called the sarira. So long as that vayu stays in the body along with the vayu is called sarira. When the same goes out it is called savam. Supposing we keep a plant in here, and if the pulp inside is removed, what remains? Dis, the rind remains. T, what do we call it? Dis, the rind of the fruit. T, What is the reason for calling it like that? Dis. Because there is no pulp inside it. T. When there is pulp in it, what do we call it? Dis. Fruit. T. So with pulp it is called fruit, and without it is called rind. Similarly, so long as there is Jiva inside the body it is called Sarira, and when Jiva leaves it is called Savam. Similarly, when Sarira the Vayu leaves the body it becomes Savam. So Vayu is Sarira. It is only when there is a Sarira there is the desire for food and drink and other functions like seeing, hearing and knowing, etc. If there is no Sarira there is no desire for all these, and this fact becomes clear after death when there is only the body left behind. Is it not so? Dis. Yes. T. Does this dead body perform any of its former functions? Dis. No. T. If it had Sarira proper, should it not have all its former functions? Dis. Yes, it ought to have. T. So can you carry this Sarira? Dis. No. T. Then what is this Sarira? Dis. It is clear that it is the Vayu, the energy of life. T. Yes. It is this Vayu, the energy of life that perishes from the body. It is like this. Just as water flows, Jiva Sakti flows out through the five senses and gets weakened, diminished and finally destroyed. What is that thing that gets destroyed? Dis. It is Vayu, the Jiva Sakti. T. It is this Vayu that is called Sarira or Daham. For example, supposing one gets a rheumatic swelling in his knee, can he move the leg? Dis. No. T. The cause? Dis. It is because there is no proper circulation of blood and consequently the movement of Vayu has become weak. T. Moreover, if a person is attacked by paralysis and his hands and legs are affected, will he be sensible to any pain? Dis. No. T. Can he move his hands and legs without any help? Dis. No. T. What is that due to? Dis. That is because there is no circulation of the Jiva Sakti. T. So what is it that gets weakened? Dis. Jiva Sakti, the life energy. T. That Jiva Sakti is Vayu, which is also called Daham. Daham means that which is being burnt up, and Vayu is this Jiva Sakti that is being burnt up. For instance, you pour kerosene oil over a heap of firewood or coconut shells and set fire to it, and when the heap is burning you cover it up tightly without allowing the air to get in. Will it burn? Dis. No. T. What is the reason? Dis. Because there is no air. T. So on what was the fire depending? Dis. On Vayu. T. Suppose a piece of stick is kept far away from another that is burning. Will that stick burn? Dis. No. T. In whichever substance there is Agni, that substance alone can burn. Therefore, because there is Agni in Vayu, it is that Vayu that burns. It is like this. Sabda is Agnisvarupa, form. Vayu, the Jiva Sakti, gets burnt and destroyed by means of Sabda, sound. That is why it is called Daham. That is why in Tamil say Kathathi, Kathathi. In Malayalam in certain places for crying they say Kaluka. It is because Agni is responsible for Kathal and Kalal. Therefore it is said that Vayu is Daham, since Jiva Sakti, the life force, which is the Vayu, is being exhausted by the way of Sabda. This Vayu, the Jiva Sakti, is ISWARA. This ISWARA is responsible for Shrishti, Stithi, and Samhara. Besides, we have been created by Vayu, the Jiva Sakti. For example, can a dead body copulate? Dis. No. T. What is the reason? Dis. Because there is no Vayu, the Jiva Sakti, in the corpse. T. So, it is only when there is the flow of Vayu, the breath, in the body that the function of reproduction is possible. Then only there will be desire for copulation, and copulation is possible. Without copulation can we get issues? Dis. No. It is impossible. T. Why so? Dis. There is no copulation. T. So what is required for copulation? Dis. Vayu, the energy of life. T. Then who creates? Dis, Vayu the Jiva. T, then if there is Vayu alone, can there be creation? Dis, no. T, then with what does the Vayu create? Dis, with the help of Pancha, Bhutas. T, what are they? Dis, Prithvi, Apu, Agni, Vayu, Akasa. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. T, if it is possible for this invisible Vayu to put all these in the womb of a female and create, can you create anything in this manner? Dis, it is not possible. T, then how do you think this creation is brought about? Take a child aged about 4 or 5. Supposing it copulates, can this child bring forth any issues? Dis, no. T, the reason? Dis, because the child has no indriya, vital fluid. T, what is the vital fluid? Dis, it is sukla. T, if this sukla does not fall into the womb of the female, can there be pregnancy? Dis, no. T, then, how is creation effected? Dis, with sukla. T, is the source of this sukla in a higher or lower plane of the jiva? Dis, it is in the lower plane. T, where is that jiva? Dis, in the akasa. T, what did we say akasa was, before? Dis, head. T, yes. It is like this. The akasa is situated above Brahmarandhra in the zenith of the head. The jiva is residing this akasa. The movement of this jiva is the vayu, breath. The vayu is the energy of life. Sukla is secreted in the very place from where this vayu originates. This place is the Brahmadya. That the place from where sukla is secreted is Brahmadya can be found out from the following. A strong and healthy person, when he indulges in sexual intercourse, gets a distinct sensation in the middle of his brows and a flesh across his eyes accompanied by a thrill all over the body. This is due to the connection of the nadis, nerves, all over the body with the Brahmadya, the vital point in the middle of the brow. This center is the eye of fire called the Sushumna. It is from this point vitus that sukla, the vital fluid, is secreted. This sukla is spoken of as fire in genus. In the case of people who are weak or who are exhausted by hard work or who are sick or who lust after the opposite sex, this sukla is disturbed from the point vitus stored up in the scrotum and comes out and gets as involuntary emissions. In such cases it will be difficult to say from where exactly this fluid comes. But all the same this vital fluid is secreted by the point vitus as mentioned above. Vayu, the Sakti self-originating effusion. But what is the cause of this effusion? Dis, excessive heat. T, what is the cause of heat? Dis, fire. T, where does fire exist? Dis in Vayu, air. T, what did I say about Vayu? Dis, it is Diha which is the energy of life. T, in this Diha which is fire, when the heat is increased, that which is secreted like perspiration is the sukla. All propagation is with this effusion of the vital fluid. So all creation is swethija. It is this swetham that is self-originated. Without this, there cannot be any creation from mere animal perspiration. Creation is only from the perspiration of Daham. Without knowing the meaning of Daham, people went wrong. Daham is the Vayu as above said. When you fully comprehend this, then the meaning will become clear. Moreover, a newborn child has no secretion of sukla. Gradually heat begins to develop and suklam begins to secrete, and with this secretion the sex expression also is formed. This is the real state of things. Dis, oh. Teacher. Kindly tell me how this sukla is able to effect this creation. T, this self-originated sukla first becomes eggs. The next stage is birth, from these eggs. It is somewhat like this. Collect the milky juice of the leaves of castor oil plant in a dish. Take a piece cf hollow stick and dip one end of the same in the juice. Take it away and blow air into it through the other end with the aid of your mouth. Then what will happen? Dis, The juice will project itself like an egg at the other end. T. What was the reason? Dis. When it was blown, air entered into it. T. This milky juice is sticky. When the hollow twig was dipped in, this milky juice stuck to the end. When it was blown at one end, a fairly big globule was projected at the other end. Sometimes there will be not only one such globule, but sometimes there will be 2, or 3, and sometimes several tiny ones according to the amount of the juice stuck up at the end and the regulation of the flow of air from the mouth. The sukla is also a sticky thing. During coitus, this fluid is moved by vayu, the energy of life, and is brought down by it for ejection. In the act of these processes of secretion and ejection, tiny eggs are germinated charged with the divine energy from the point vitus. These eggs are hatched in the womb. Generally, one such egg is hatched by the womb. Sometimes 2 such eggs are received and hatched, sometimes 3 and sometimes even 4. Sometimes there are several of them. Some females are said to have given birth to what credulous people would say, snakes and eggs. They are not snakes and eggs. They are mere freaks brought about by some defects in the germination of the sukla by vayu. Either owing to the strength of the dhatu, the vital principle, or owing to the force of vayu or other defects, the act of germination is disarranged and a number of such disarranged cells falls into the womb, and when these cells are hatched and delivered, they look like a few pieces of flesh resembling snakes and eggs. This is how beings are propagated. Can it be in any other way? Dis. Considering all these, the creation cannot be in any other manner. T. So who is it that created us? Dis. Vayu, the divine energy. T. So who is the author of creation? Dis. It is vayu, the divine energy. T. What is the essential thing that we must have in us to be alive? Dis. There must be this vayu. T. Then who is it that resides in us? Dis. It is the above said vayu. T. When a man died, what did he lose? Dis. Only this vayu. T. So who is it that does the samhara, destruction? Dis. This vayu. T. So, who is the author of the 3 states of existences, viz., shrishti, sthiti, and samhara? Dis. It is this vayu, the energy of all life. T. This vayu is the ISWARA. It is consonance with the qualities of this vayu that ISWARA, God, is stated to be the all-pervading and omnipresent one, without name and form, without any existence in time or space, and without any beginning or end. Has this vayu any name or form? Dis. No. T. Has this vayu any dimensions? Dis. No. T. Has this vayu any beginning or end? Dis. No. T. Then how is this vayu situated? Dis. It is spread everywhere. T. That is why God is said to be all-pervading. If God is said to be without any dimensions, is there any space for it to be filled? Dis. No. T. If there is no self, can there be any conception of dimensions, viz., inner and outer? Dis. No. T. When did you get the conception of space as the inner and outer? Dis. After being conscious of the self. T. But when you were sleeping, did you have this conception of space as the inner or outer? Dis. No. T. When did you get that conception? Dis. When I woke up. T. Where did you get that from? Dis. From myself. T. So when the self vibrated as akasa, the idea of space originated. This originated from within the self. So, what is the substance that sustains this inner and outer conception of space? Dis. It is vayu, the energy of life. T. That is why God is said to be both in and out. So what is God? Dis. It is the vayu. T. What is the supreme knowledge? Dis. The same vayu. T. The guardian of all life? Dis. The same vayu. T. So, we have known that vayu is the God, is the supreme knowledge and the guardian of all life. Without realizing this, we grope about in darkness. We die out only when the whole of this vayu, the energy of life, is gone from us. Our resurrection and ascension is the concentrating of this energy at the point vitus in us called Brahmarandhra. This is the real worship of God. But in the name of such a worship, what is it that people do? They go to temples and other places of worship, burn lights, break coconuts and perform pujas and other ceremonies. Can you call this ISWARA seva? No. What is then ISWARA seva? It is serving or ministering to God. Ministering to God means what? It is worshipping Him. I shall tell you what is meant by ministering to God or serving God really means by an illustration. A doctor prescribes a mixture. After preparing the mixture and sweetening it, what does he do? He serves or administers it to the patient. So how is the service and ministering effected? By taking it in so that the medicine gets into the tissues of the body. In the same manner, serving or administering God is done by making God enter us. Instead of this, if we spit Him out, what would it be? It would be anything but serving God. So, in order to make God enter us, so that we may be one with Him, we must know Him. If you do not know Him, can you serve Him? No. Till now you have been considering Shiva, Rama, Krishna, Kali, Kudichathan, Ganpati, Subramani's, Bhagavati and so on as gods. Now who is the real ISWARA, God? Vayu, the energy of life. ISWARA seva means taking in this Vayu, the energy of life. Without concentrating this energy in our point Vitus or Brahmarandhra, how can we resurrect or ascend to moksha or salvation? We cannot. Have you known where Brahmarandhra is? It is in us. Is it higher, up in us or lower down? It is higher up in us. Where is Jiva? Is it within us or outside us? It is within us. Where does the path lie for the Jiva to reach this Brahmarandhra? The path lies within us. Is it possible for us to carry this Jiva to this point through any other path outside us? No. When this inner Jiva goes out, what would happen? Death would happen. If we die, what are we? We become mere dead bodies. Can a dead body get moksha, liberation? No. Why not? Because there is no Jiva. So, for whom is the moksha? Only for the Jiva. Why should Jiva have moksha, liberation? Is Jiva in bonds? Is not this Jiva said to be nirmukta, beyond embarration, nirahankara, beyond egoism, and nirsanga, beyond bonds? Why then should such a Jiva have moksha, and what do you understand by this moksha? Moksha means, mokshanam, freedom. Mokshanam, freedom, from what? From bonds. Has anybody tied down Jiva? No. Our energy flows out from us and enters into so many things. We cling on to these things helplessly, and this is called the bondage. For example, see me, what have I done? You have clasped this wooden plank tightly in your arms close to your chest. Yes, lamb holding this plank tightly. The plank is not holding me. Such being the case, if I cry out and weep, leave me, liberate me, and so on, will I be free from the contact of this plank? No. Why is it so? You are yourself clasping the plank tightly. Is the plank having any hold on me? No. Before complaining, I must see who is holding the plank. Is it myself that holds the plank, or is it the plank that holds me? If I look into this, I will know that the plank is not holding me, but I am alone holding the plank. Suppose I leave my hold, what would happen? The plank falls down. In the same manner, the self, that is the Shiva, spreads out as Sakti. Then it becomes Shiva Sakti. From this Sakti creations originate, and we cling on to these creations as mother, father, wife, husband, children, home, wealth, power, prestige, caste, and soon. These do not cling on to us. We go and cling on to them. Suppose you are sleeping by the side of your baby. In the sleep, if you roll yourself on your baby and crush him, are you conscious of what you are doing to the beloved child? Suppose also, while thus sleeping, a Chandala who is considered to be an untouchable and who is treated even worse than the so-called animals, comes near you and touches you. Are you able to know that? No. I will not be able to know these things. When you wake up, do you have any feeling to the effect that a Chandala polluted you and consequently that you have become unclean and that you must be purified? No. Suppose again, this Chandala who eats the most rotten food, makes a pudding out of the worms coming out of the rotten carcass of a cow, and when you are asleep, pours a spoonful of this in your mouth. What will happen? It will simply go down by throat. Then, did you know what you were doing? No. Why? Because I was sleeping. When we were sleeping, how was our life centered? Was it outside or inside? It was inside. Creations are made as already stated from and out of the flow and spread of our energy. We cling on to these things which are of our own creation and feel miserable, just like the example of the person holding the plank tightly as above mentioned. We must loose our hold of these things and concentrate all our energy in our Brahmarandhra. This is what is really known as upadesam, spiritual guidance. What is this upadesam generally for? To attain moksha, liberation. To get moksha, how should the Jiva travel? In a downward flow or an upward flow? Jiva should go upward only. Have you heard of any upadesa, spiritual guidance, now being given in the world to elevate this Jiva to attain the path of liberation? Yes. There is even now the Panchakshara and Brahmopadesa etc., being imparted and chanted for this moksha But you will never get the Urdhva Gathi, upward path, for your Jiva by saying Shiva, Rama, Narayana or by reciting Namasivaya Om, Aim, Kleem, Som, Veda, Vagvathini, Balaparameswari Svaha Om, Reem, Namasivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya Ashtakshari, Trayakshari, Ekakshari, Tripurasundari, Swayamvarani, Prananam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, *Tathwamasai, I am Atma Brahma. Also the Gayatri, Om Bu, Om Bhuvaha Om Bhuvar Bhavasva, Om Tat Savitar Varinium Bargo Devasya Dimahi Dio Yo Na Prakadayat. Do you mean to say that by the mere chanting of these words you will get an upward path for your Jiva? No. By uttering such things, what Gathi, path, will you attain, the Urdhva Gathi, upward path, or the Adhagathi, the downward path? Only the Adhagathi, the downward path. The downward path of the Jiva or Daham is the wasting away of the Vayu, which is fire in essence as vibrations. It is because of this wastage that we die. The upadesam or the spiritual guidance is to prevent this wastage and to store and accumulate the same at the point vitus. This Sanskrit word upadesam is itself connotative of this idea. This word contains two concepts, upa and desa. Can you tell me what is meant by the concept upa? Upa means nearby or nearness. Desam means what? Sthanam, center of place. Now what is the actual significance of upadesam? Being near the place. Who wants the place? Does a dead body require it? No. Why not? Because it has no life. Then who is it longing to be there? The Jiva. I will tell you where this place is. Tell me when you suddenly get frightened or suddenly slips down into a ditch or receive a blow from behind or near a sudden explosion, how and in what direction does your breath go? It gets concentrated and goes up in an upward gasp to the Brahmarandhra, the vital point. So which is the place of this Jiva? Brahmarandhra, the vital point. T. How does it go up? Through the inner side or outer side? Dis. Through the inner side. T. Our Jiva resides within us and pervades all over the limbs and extends up to the lowest extremity of our body, the urinary tract. If there is no Jiva, the vital fluid cannot be secreted and ejected. The Jiva itself is the vital fluid. If the Jiva were to stop somewhere above the urinary tract, then it will be impossible for either the urine or the vital fluid to come out of the tract. It is the Jiva that ejects out the urine and vital fluid from the end of the tract. It is this Jiva that lies extended up to the urinal canal at the lower extremity of the body. It is this Jiva that goes up all when we get suddenly frightened or when we slip into a ditch. Have you observed from where this going up actually starts? Dis. From the root of the urinary tract. T. Thus the path of the Jiva lies within us. We must clear this passage. The saying that the path of life must be straight and that life should attain a good gati, path, refers only to this. We must constantly collect and concentrate our sakti, energy, that is being wasted in the form of breath and take the same through the passage within us to Brahmarandhra. Then only we will get the gati, tight path, for the Jiva to reach the point vitus. In no other manner can Jiva attain the correct gati. Have you observed a person when he is in his last moments? Dis. Yes. T. How is the gati glow of breath, then? Dis. Gati is in an upward flow. T. It is this upward flow of breath that is the natural gati, flow, of Jiva, and it is about this that I am speaking of as the right path. You can even now adopt such a method of breathing as I am doing now. This is the gati that many don't get in their last moments. Do all get this? Dis. No. T. All of us die. But we do not study how to face our last moments. We do not study how to die. That is why we suffer. If we know how to die, we need not have any suffering. We must get at the correct path and proceed. Because we have not learned how to die, we suffer naraka, hell, and we have to die. To die means to forget. We have to forget all thoughts of the self and the world. Then will we die. Dis. We cannot die. T. The method of breathing that I just now demonstrated to you is what is required at the deathbed. Without getting this straight flow of breath at the last moments, how many linger in their deathbed gasping for breath a number of days together, sometimes even a number of months, their bodies being gradually eaten away by worms? Do you not see actually people suffering like this? Dis. Yes. T. At that time can they describe the sort of agony they are undergoing? Dis. They cannot. T. We onlookers cannot bear to see their sufferings. Such being the case, how much more should they suffer? Can we describe? Dis. No. T. Suppose if they had practiced to control their breath in the manner I have shown you, should they suffer like this in their last moments? Dis. No. T. Is the track of the Brahmarandhra opened or closed for us now? Dis. It is closed. T. Unless we open this track, can we take the Jiva to the Brahmarandhra and make it rest there? Dis. No. T. What is known as death is the complete flow out of the Jiva from our body after its failure to force open the entrance to the Brahmarandhra. The state of liberation to the collection of the outflowing energy of Jiva in one single stream and concentration of the same in Brahmarandhra above. This is the attainment of self-realization. Now tell me, how is your flow? Is it towards this Brahmarandhra or away from it? Dis. Away from it and going down. T. By this downward flow what happens to the Jiva, life? Dis. It dies out. T. Now after hearing all these, how is your aspiration working? Dis. It works up. T. So the life that was being wasted is now getting stored up. Who is the most supreme in us? Dis. ISWARA. T. So Jiva stored up gets united with the ISWARA. What is it that we get out of the union of Jiva with ISWARA? Dis. Moksha, liberation. T. This is what is called unifying of prana and apana. Prana is within us. Apana is that which goes out. Pranayama is the practice for uniting the apana that goes out with the prana within us by preventing its flow out. The meaning of pranayama is to do ayamam for the prana. Ayamam means prolonging. That is prolonging the retention of prana by preventing its flow out. While we are awake we must get the same gati, flow of breath, as the one that we get while we are in a deep sleep. While we are sleeping, how was this flow concentrated? Was it internally or externally? LT was internally concentrated. T. While we are asleep generally the flow of our breath happens FOB in so many different ways. Some snore heavily making all sorts of noises. These noises indicate that there is something wrong with the flow of breath. If the flow of breath is in a normal and natural state it is very subtle and smooth. There will be only a slight heaving of the chest and no noise at all. If you want to get liberation from your bonds you must be able to follow the correct path to reach the place where there is the divine light. We must blow our breath into that place for light. If you blow a heap of charcoal at a place where there is no fire, will you get light? No. T. In order to make the charcoal burn, what should you do? We must blow the fire. T. In the same manner without blowing the sushumna, the eye of fire, if we waste our energy outside, we will not get any light. We must blow the eye of fire in our brahmadya, middle of the brow, with vayu the jiva. Sakti, and in this fire burn all our passions and desires. Then only we will be enlightened with knowledge. In no other manner can we attain the real knowledge. This blowing of the sushumna with vayu as above mentioned is pranayamam, conserving of life. People breathe in so many ways in the name of pranayama without knowing the real truth. Some close one nostril and take in their breath through the other one forcibly and get brain fever, madness, consumption and other nervous complications and die. These adverse effects obtained by such people have scared away the people from the practice of genuine pranayama. A real pranayami, one who practices pranayama, is free from any sickness. Our prana, life, is inside us. Such being the case, if you pull from outside closing one nostril, as so many do, will it be of any avail? No. T. For example, you have a bag full of grain. There is also plenty of grain outside this bag. If you want to fill the bag with the grain that is scattered outside, will it be possible? No. T. Without considering the capacity of the bag, if we attempt to stuff some more grain in it, what will happen? The bag would give away. T. In the same manner, if you attempt to fill yourself with the outside vayu, so as to make it one with what is inside you, you will only injure yourself and die. The practice of pranayama is the regulation and control of the flow of our inner prana from inside. Such adepts are free from illness and diseases, and you have also heard it said in the world that a constant pranayami has no sickness.